Hello and welcome to the first episode of Bite Size Chats. I'm your host, Tommy Kasher. Now, the bite-sized portion of the chats today is brought to you by Thirst Burst at Market Town. We have Bahn me. And now the chats portion of today's episode is brought to you by my guest, Jess Farchione. Jess, welcome.
Thank you very much. Inaugural guest.
How do you feel about that?
I feel very privileged, to be honest. I think you might have made a mistake, though, having me as your first guest with food involved, because I've been told multiple times that I eat too much on air. I'm a radio host, and try and talk at the same time, which, you know, doesn't your mama teach you? Don't eat with your mouth full.
Well,
don't talk with your mouth full. You have to eat with your mouth full. That's not eating.
I was going to make the tagline of this show where it's not rude to talk with your mouth full.
Well, there you go. All right, we've got... I'm good at it.
Okay, so we have three... I was going to say cards. They're not cards. They're pieces of paper that I've handwritten on.
They look like pieces of paper you've ripped out of a notebook.
They literally are, and I've handwritten the questions on them.
Did you rip them out of a notebook, or did you cut them out of a notebook? Because they're very straight edges.
Ripped and then cut along the top. Thank you for the...
No, that's really good.
Now, whenever you like, eat.
Thank you.
I
didn't have lunch today. I have a 1-year-old, and she just took up a bit more time, so I didn't eat by the time you had to get... You can get that, because I'm busy. So I'm starving. This is fantastic. You didn't tell me there was food. Imagine if I'd eaten before. I still would have eaten this.
You probably would have, yes. So, first question. Pick a sheet for me. Pick a card.
Is this lemongrass beef?
Yes, lemongrass beef, no coriander.
Thank you. The middle one.
Middle one. Middle card.
I've never had Thirst Burst by me. This is excellent.
What's the weirdest DM you've ever received?
Oh, straight off the bat. I reckon it was 3 years ago. A man, it's always a man.
It's always a man.
It's always a man DM'd me and said, if I give you $150, can you film yourself crushing cockroaches with your feet for an hour? Now, at first glance, I will do a lot of things for money. That sounds really bad. But I went, $150 to crush some roaches. I hate roaches, happily crush them. But then I went, wait a minute, for an hour? How many roaches is that? And also, who is supplying the roaches?
Where are you finding said roaches?
My house is disgusting for roaches. We just got it sprayed, and yet roaches still abound.
Rude.
So rude. I want to say, excuse me, come again. Did you put attractors or detractors? Because it feels like they've come more. I filmed one sticking its antenna.
Yeah.
Like out our window. Like you should just see the antenna, and if that's how big the antenna are, how big is the body of this roach? I couldn't even fathom investigating further. Anyway, so that was the weirdest DM. And I wrote back saying, thank you, I'm not interested. Because I have a policy of always replying to DM.
So, was there any world where you would have contemplated... If you had said $1,000...
My question still is...
Where are you getting the roaches?
Where are you getting the roaches? Because if I have to supply the roaches, one, I don't even know where to get that from. And two, it's eating into my profit. So if he could have supplied the roaches... $1,000... For an hour? No. That's still not enough for an hour's work.
What if he had have said...
For roaches, I want to make it clear. That sounded really snobby just then. That is meant for crushing roaches. $2,000.
For an hour?
For an hour's
but
work,
what if
crushing
said,
roaches.
How many roaches...
Can I wear shoes?
Yeah, true.
Because I have to be wearing shoes. I'm not touching with my bare feet. That's $10,000.
How many roaches would you have crushed? Or how long... Let me rephrase. How long would you...
This is very drippy.
It really is. How long would you have crushed roaches for $150? Do you know what I mean?
2.
Yeah, okay. So you would have done it?
Yeah. But maybe I should have asked more questions about, does it have to be an hour? For $150, I'll do 2. And I could have found 2 in my kitchen probably then and there. Disgusting creatures.
Glad I didn't ask you to make lunch then.
However, if anyone from I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here's watching, I love cockroaches. That wouldn't be a good challenge to put me in a pit of roaches. How's me think I'd ever get on I'm a Celebrity?
No, you're pretty... Other than
I'm just as unknown as some of the people on it now.
Yeah, that's actually
Don't
very
you think?
Well said.
Yeah, thank
Absolutely. You. Now, I think we're ready for question 2.
Oh, we'll do them all.
Yeah, we'll do them
Not
all.
just the order.
Yeah, just the order.
Sure.
Which one you want to pick?
Left.
Now, that was like the light-hearted one.
Oh, there you
go. We got
go.
to kind of...
Well, what a natural progression.
Yes. What is a moment in your life or career when you felt like you truly made it? Life or career?
That I felt I truly made it.
Interpret that as you will.
Do you know what's funny? The first thing that came to mind isn't this big glamorous moment, but it's the first memory that's come to mind. I was in Chic, you know, the women's clothes shop. And the woman working said, "Can I help you?"
Wait, pause. How long ago, where was she?
Ooh. This would have maybe been 4 years ago. So I'd been in Newcastle in the market that I was broadcasting in for 2 years maybe. Maybe a little less. Maybe let's say 18 months. And she said, "Hi, can I help you?"
Yep.
And I said, "No, thanks, just looking." I reckon I said it that fast and it was that short. And she said, "Are you Jess from the radio?" And I was like, "Yeah. Thanks for recognising me." She goes, "I didn't recognise you, I recognised your voice." And I said, "From no thanks, just looking." Because I thought social media, this or that. When I grew up consuming radio, I actually didn't know what any of the hosts looked like. Until I saw billboards of them.
Yeah.
You know, Instagram, even Facebook wasn't really a thing. So I didn't connect with the hosts on that level. It was purely on air. So I didn't know what anyone looked like. I remember the first time I saw what Marty Sheargold looked like. And I went, I just had no idea that's what you look like. It really stood out to me as a core memory. So when she said, "No, I didn't know what you look like, I recognised your voice," but she had such confidence to say that in that moment, I thought that's pretty cool. And clearly the cut through of my work that I'm doing Monday to Friday, 6 till 9, it was working. And that made me feel really seen. It made me feel really recognised in the most wonderful way. It made me feel really connected to the audience.
How has that developed over the last 4 years? Because I can only imagine you're more ingrained in the community. And while you might not have a specific moment that comes to mind like that did, you are really ingrained in the community here and like...
One of my friends called me an icon yesterday, and I was like, "All right, pump the brakes, sis." Very kind, because I was talking about my contract's up at the end of the year. And I was like, "Who knows, man? The way radio's going, who knows?" And she was like, "They'd never get rid of you. You're an icon." I went, "No, I'm not. But I'm going to..."
But also email that to the station.
Legit. I was like, "Can you anonymously send that in?" But anyway, sorry, what was your question?
It was more of a statement than a question. I don't even know what the question was. I was just like, how do you feel now?
Oh, yeah.
4 years further down the track being here in Newcastle.
It's funny because now, as much as I get approached, I also don't get approached and get told about it later. And what I mean by that is the number of people who are, I'm going to say, confident enough to come up and say hello in public. Like last night, my husband and I went to the movies and we're eating Landrail beef noodle soup before. And this young boy and his mum walked past me and he said, "Hi, Jess." And I was mouthful half. I'm like, "Have you ever had Landrail?"
I have not.
The noodles are miles long. So I went, "Oh my God." And Angus had to be like, "She's just swallowing, 1 second." But he said hello. I said hello and the mum was explaining he didn't think it was me. And she was like, "Yes, it is. We'll just quickly go say hello, but she's eating, so don't talk too long," whatever. But as many people...
How old was the boy?
I reckon, I thought 11, Angus thought 12. 11 or 12. Could have been 13. I'm not great with ages of kids, except my own kid. Anyway.
Little boy.
But the mum, Chantel, hello Chantel and Lucas, the mum was like, "I'm so sorry we interrupted you." And I said, "No, thank you so much for saying hello." And because what happens more often than not is people message me afterwards, after they've seen me, and said I was too embarrassed to come say hello, or I was too shy, or I didn't want to interrupt you. And honestly, that happens for every person who does come and say hello. I get that sort of message afterwards. And that makes me feel like I've almost gone backwards. I'm like, are people not confident to come and say hello, or don't feel connected to me anymore? Or have I gotten...
Too big for your britches?
Yeah, that they think, "Oh, I can't go and say hello." I'm like, my whole job and what I pride myself on is connecting with people. And if that doesn't translate to them feeling like they can say hello to me in real life, that makes me actually very sad. So if you see me in real life, please say hello. Don't message me afterwards saying, "I was too scared to say hello." That makes me feel like shit, to be honest. And that's maybe making it about me and not about them. But yeah, I really don't like that.
Is there any situation though where Lucia might be cracking the shits and you're at Coles and you're trying to juggle things?
I shop at Woolworths, but yeah.
I've recently changed to Aldi. You know my spendingness.
Yeah, no,
I'm trying to-
absolutely. But do they give you rewards? I do like a reward.
No, we were on Woolworths rewards for so long,
Yeah.
and now I'm like, if I can get it for $50 cheaper at Aldi, fuck your
fair.
rewards.
But, I mean, I've done one Aldi shop and the dishwashing liquid, inferior to what was available at
Right,
Woolworths. Like,
okay.
I just don't think some of the products are crap. No, we're going to get
Good.
cancelled by Aldi. Bleep all that out.
Okay. Is there a situation where someone, anytime, any day, and someone sees you, you would be happy for someone to come and... Because there's a
great
difference
question.
between coming to say hi
Yep.
versus stopping you for a 45
That
minute
last bite, I got like
conversation.
all the chili that was in it. Nah, I'd be happy.
Great. Okay.
I say that, tomorrow something will happen, I'll be like, I don't have time. But honestly,
Okay.
I'll be happy.
Beautiful.
Well, like, read the room.
Yeah,
If the
totally.
kid's crying, maybe say hello and jog on. But, like, don't expect me to have... And then don't put something on social media being like, ooh, Jess is a bitch. I watched her bite-sized chats and she wanted people to say hello. Yeah, well, the kid was cracking it. Having said that, Lucia is very good and she doesn't often crack it in public.
Fair.
She saves that for behind closed doors.
Third and final. What is a challenge you've overcome that shaped who you are today? That's deep, man. That's deep.
I'm glad we
Shaped.
built up. If we'd started on that and then ended on the cockroach stomping...
What is a challenge you've overcome that shaped who you are today?
Oh my God. What a perfect person to have asked that question. We started in radio in 2016
We did.
and I had it in my head I had to be a certain person to succeed in this industry. And that person that I made up in my head needed to be cutthroat, needed to be ruthless, if I may, needed to be a bitch, needed to have the highest standards possible, and there was no room for error or what I perceived as weakness or anything like that. You copped that version of me. The challenge for me, which sadly you had left by then, was realizing you don't need to be that. And in fact, it's holding you back from being your most authentic self. I think at my core, I am a kind, compassionate, generous, gentle person. I was the opposite of that because I thought I needed to be. The challenge was coming back to that, feeling comfortable in my own insecurities, vulnerabilities, and weaknesses of being soft and gentle and not being a confrontational person, and staying true to that version of myself, which I think, and I shouldn't have used the word version, staying true to me and carrying that forward in my career.
What made you change? Was there a moment that you're like, oh, I don't have to be that? Or did it develop as you went from
Do you know what's funny? I think when you left and I was on my own for 3 months, it was all on me to be and uphold the standards that I had perceived and that I'd created in my head. And I think getting the job in Newcastle, I was then with 2 people who were more experienced than me, more senior in that sense, who I submitted to, which I hate that memory of me because I was weak in that I never stood up for myself. I let them shape content around me that I didn't agree with most of the time, but I went, but they know more than me, they're more
'cause you
experienced.
just come into that and you're
I
like,
just
oh,
come
well.
into it. So where you and I were on the same level, I then found myself in a dynamic where I was the novice. I'd been in the industry for 18 months and they collectively had been in the industry for almost 20 years. So it was very much like I became the go along with it, say yes, the submissive. So I realised, okay. But then I became another version of myself that I didn't like. The weak, go along with it, just say yes to everything, go along with everything that I may have vehemently disagreed with. So yeah, the challenge was...
So then how did you come out of that? Was it just time to...
It was honestly just time, and it was honestly practicing saying no and not crying every time I said no, or not running away, being like, trying to get a boss involved to help me say no. It was genuinely practicing saying no, practicing conflict, practicing confrontation, and not succeeding by any means very early, and still struggle with it. But it was genuinely time and practice and exposure and reminding myself, I'm the boss. I'm the boss of this, and I don't have to go along with something just because someone in my head has more authority or more experience or more
And I guess,
knowledge of it.
Yeah, it's such a tricky thing, especially with radio. You're presenting a version of yourself to your audience and really the community that you live in.
Yep.
And for the first however long, it sounded like you were just like, oh, okay, if they want me to do that, I guess that's who I'll be.
It was almost like I've been acting and I'm not an actor. I designed this character and I thought that's what people would want. And then I designed a character that I thought that's what my co-hosts would want. And then I designed a character and I went, what am I actually about? Because it's exhausting pretending to play a character. And it is so much easier and more authentic to just be as you are. You can dial it up 5%, you can dial it back 5%, but at your essence, you're not conjuring up responses or acting in a way that you think is what will be perceived well.
And I guess that's all radio is. You're trying to connect with people. And if you're putting up this false
People
idea,
can work it out, particularly in this day and age. I scroll social media, TikTok, Instagram, you can tell the ones that have been curated and the ones where they've just whipped the phone out and captured something amazing or hilarious or whatever. And the real ones, don't they just do so much better?
Absolutely. Now, time for our confession card, Jessica. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Well, you don't have a choice. We're doing it.
Absolutely.
Hold that for me.
With pleasure. Thank you for the Bahn me. That was exceptional. Or was I starving? I don't know. What's under there?
I will get you to read this.
Confession card. Reveal something you've never admitted publicly or take a huge bite of this. Imagine if I'd lied to you. How long have I known you? Since 2014?
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine if I'd lied to you that whole time that I didn't like, because I knew one day you'll want to do something. But similarly, anyone when I'm a celebrity, I genuinely don't like banana. Reveal something. I don't think I've ever actually taken a bite of a banana. I just hate the smell and the texture so much. And it's such a flavour bully in smoothies and acai bowls and stuff that I think that's the thing I don't like. I'm definitely not. Today's not the day.
Okay. Especially after Bahn me
God,
too.
it's so funny. I thought that was going to be something like raw meat or some sort of seafood, an oyster. Reveal something you've never admitted publicly.
Now, obviously, this can be as watered down and weak as you want, or as spicy and as controversial as you want. I would prefer that end.
Yeah, of course.
But, look, beggars can't be choosers, eh?
It's so funny because I've admitted so much on air. I don't actually have that many deep, dark secrets.
No, and it doesn't have to be a secret, but it could be something about you. It could be something about working on radio.
You know what's come to mind? God, this is so pathetic. In year 8. No. That's giving myself way too much credit of youth. I was older. I reckon maybe year 11.
Okay.
15, 16.
Yeah, okay.
I reckon this is my biggest regret.
Whoa.
This is my first instance of going against the sisterhood. And I regret it. To this day, I regret it.
Yeah.
I don't speak to this girl anymore, just purely because our lives went different paths after high school.
Yep.
I wonder if I should track her down. Alicia liked a boy.
Yep.
And she, like we all did in high school, lay claim to this boy.
Yep.
She was a tiny girl and he was a tiny boy.
Yes.
Like, I don't know, she gravitated. They matched. Did they know? Yeah, they did know each other. I think we went to a party or something.
So we're at that age where we're going to parties.
We're at a party, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't want to say his name.
Okay, don't.
Because it's a very unique name.
Yeah.
And
It's not John Smith.
it's not John Smith. Let's call him T.
Cool.
T MSN messaged me
Yep.
and was like, you're so, I don't even know what words did we use back then?
You're so hot.
Might have been hot.
Sexy. You probably would have said
Wasn't hot just like the be all end all. It's like if someone called you beautiful, you'd be like, ugh, I want to be hot. I said to my husband the other day, I was like, I don't feel sexy. He's like, you're gorgeous. And I was like, I don't want to be gorgeous. I want to be sexy. And I was like, the fact you didn't back me out there. Anyway, that's for on air. We'll talk about that another time. I'm like, do a sit up, Jess. Maybe you'd feel sexier. Anyway, that's fine. messages me on MSN.
Yep.
I think you're hot or whatever. And I was like, literally think I said, no, Alicia,
Likes you.
she likes you. And he was like, but I don't like her. And I was like, I tried. And then we went to the park and made out. And I, to this day, feel so icky about it. Like, she was my friend. It's not like she was some acquaintance at school that had said something. She was in my group. She was in my group. It just felt so, now I look back, it's comically dramatic and like everything was in high school. But it felt like a test from the universe that I failed. That I chose this boy who wasn't
I think it's so
special,
funny
that
like,
I hate that I was that kind of friend in that moment. I hate it. I really am ashamed of myself.
one, you were so immature.
I know,
as in you were young.
Yeah.
And two, the fact that this was roughly 20 years ago and you still think about that.
Because I pride myself, you know what I think it is, upon reflection? Who doesn't want to be seen as a good friend?
Yeah, true.
Friendship, like our relationships, starting a podcast with a clinical psychologist who is an expert in teenagers. And she talks about relationships being the foundation for everything. And I don't just mean for literally how you are in your interpersonal relationships, literally for your physical health, mental health, your success in life, your professional life, personal life. It all comes down to your connection with people and your relationships, yeah? And that's just recent knowledge I've acquired. I know that. Friendship and who you are and how you treat those in your circle, what is more to be judged on? And I hate that is part of my story, that I chose a boy for a smooch on a playground over a friend. And I'm not saying that's the reason the friendship broke down. Maybe it is, we're not friends anymore. But I hate that dot point of my history. I hate it. I hate that I did that.
I think your
betrayal. I think it's betrayal. It feels so dramatic,
so
but
dramatic.
it's betrayal. It is.
But if that's how you feel about
it, I was tested, yes, in my youth, but why didn't I have that value of this friend is more important than this boy? Why didn't I have that? I sought male approval. I don't know. I could psychoanalyze this. We could.
Well, you are.
I am. I hate. Maybe that's what I hate. That I sought the male approval more than I sought the bond with my friend.
Yeah, but maybe...
and not even like trying to get a kudos from her, being like, T wanted me and not you, so you should really be happy with me.
Yeah.
She should never have found out. It should never have been a thing. But I chose him. She did find out. I hate it. I hate that about myself. Ugh. Friendship matters, man. Betrayal.
Friendship does matter.
I just saw Mufasa, so maybe I've really got betrayal in the Scar, man. Ugh. Tucker. Bad betrayal.
I think I'd be able to relate more if maybe you were a bit older and maybe they were together. But deep down, maybe you just weren't super close with that particular girl. Yes, you were in the group, but like maybe...
I was in a group of 5 chicks.
Okay,
so like I
5
had a massive group. Like,
okay.
Yeah, it was, we were tight.
Well, I think
She's the first person to ever straighten my hair. Like, we were close, man.
I think, even before your mum?
I might have had a straightener, like my mum might have had a straightener growing up, but I remember going to Alicia's house before a party and she was like, do you want me to straighten your hair? And I was like, oh, yes. And she had the giant muck. Does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, MUK.
Good.
They do hair wax
Muck
and stuff.
brand. Yes, they used to do amazing electronics. I don't think they are in that space anymore. It's all about GHD. Maybe it's not. What do I know? It's spelled with the Dyson Airwrap. But she had the massive mark and I remember, that's how much it's like scarred me.
What I think it does more than anything is show your value today. The fact that you're worried about that's how you feel.
Yeah.
Even going back to the previous question where you felt like you showed different versions of yourself and you submitted your choice of words.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're still scarred by something that some people might perceive as so minor 20 years ago still impacts you, just speaks on the person and the characteristics and the qualities that you want to have as a friend.
Yeah. But I still hate that I did it. But if I didn't do it, would I have learnt
Would you be
something?
here today?
Would I be here today?
Ooh.
But then I cheated on a bunch of boyfriends. Like, did I actually?
Wait, what do you mean?
I answered your question.
Oh, yeah.
You eat the banana. No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it all comes down to betrayal. I didn't learn my lesson hard enough, maybe. I kept doing it.
Well, I guess the question was, reveal something you've never admitted publicly. You've never admitted publicly that.
Yeah.
That scarred you.
The Alicia thing. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And you had admitted you cheated on.
Yeah, I've said that before.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So that's.
I also remember we've actually had this discussion. I don't think kissing's really cheating. Yeah.
This is getting into a whole different realm. Let's unpack this on a different chat. Jess.
But I want my
cheers.
husband to know. Now I think it is. But I'm just saying, when you're like 17, it's all see, this is. I'm happy to betray anyone. Or watch your back, bro.
Cheers.